to the September 25th, 2024 Town Board meeting for the town of Red Hook. Would you all be so kind as to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Councilperson Julie Solomon is running a little late. Should be joining us when she gets here. We're running a tad late, but we'll pick up speed, I promise. A few announcements that I want to do, and I'm going to put the public comment period for after the public hearings. One thing is the calendar is now out for early voting. This year there are 8 locations in Dutchess County as opposed to 6, and the important thing to pay attention to is that the Rhinebeck location will not be at Rhinebeck Town Hall as it historically always has been. It'll be this other location. So, Daily Catcher, I hope you'll promote that because people will get confused, and we'll make more announcements on it as we get closer. And then also the dates, the dates and the times are different on different days of the week. So that's
So just to be clear, you can, as a resident of Dutchess County, you can vote at any of these locations.
That's correct.
So if you work near one or you're traveling near one.
That's right.
But the closest one is the one in Rhinebeck, which will be in a different location.
I have everything in there, so.
It's very easy to find.
This announcement is the Rhinebeck and Red Hook are invited to the Light the Village Pink 2024 for breast cancer awareness this year. And information is in this attachment. Once again, Dutchess County SPCA is doing a free rabies vaccination. We did one here in Red Hook, which we do every year, and this one is going to be in Hyde Park on the 20th. It's free for Dutchess County residents, but it's $10 if you're non-resident, and you really need to try to register in advance because they do fill up quickly. Okay, the historic Frederick Cemetery Crawl started on the 14th of September. Is a tour, a walking tour, and there's information about that here. The Tivoli Sons of the American Legion are having a barbecue dinner on October the 12th. Till sold out. Tivoli Legion Hall. The VFW is hosting a few things, Challenge 22 at the high school, and then they have a few contests where students can apply for scholarships. This one's called the Legion America Community Our Forefathers Vision. Up to $35,000 for a scholarship. It's a nice program, and we encourage, this is a copy of the application. We encourage those who have kids to consider applying. So what else do we have here? All right, we are a few minutes late for our first public hearing on the moratorium on art waivers. So Deanna, would you be so kind as to read the announcement?
Yeah, I have it right here. Notice of public hearing, Town of Red Hook. Please take notice that a series of public hearings will be held by the Town Board of the Town of Red Hook on September 25th, 2024, at the respective times set below or as soon thereafter as the matter comes before the board at the Town Hall, 7340 South Broadway, Red Hook, New York, 12571, to hear all interested persons on the applications received on the date set forth below from the applicants set forth below for a hardship waiver of the provisions of local law number 1 of 2024 entitled "A Local Law Placing Moratorium on Applications in the TND-CC Subdistrict, on Applications for Subdivision in the AB District, and on Applications Affecting Wetlands," adopted March 27, 2024. The requests for waiver concern the following. Romaine Bonans, September 3rd, 2024, 141 Country Club Drive, 0.34 acres. Tax parcel 1348896372196698084. Liam Turkle, September 6, 2024, 307 Spring Lake Road, 62.4 acre, tax parcel 134-889-6373-00890-737. Please take further notice that copies of said proposed waiver applications are available for review at the Town Hall, South Broadway, Red Hook, New York. All interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard in person or by directing comments in writing to the Town Board at 7340 South Broadway, Red Hook, New York. All reasonable accommodations will be made for persons with disabilities. In such a case, please notify the town clerk in advance of the above address or by phone so that arrangements can be made. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Red Hook, dated September 10th, 2024, Deanna Cochran, Town Clerk, Town of Red Hook.
Thank you, Deanna. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we open the public hearing for the remaining funds application for a hardship waiver. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so at this time, the public hearing is open for that application. Is there anybody who would like to speak or discuss this? Is there any discussion from the town board? Have we had a chance to read the time bond memo? Okay. With that, since nobody's speaking, we're done.
Yes, good question.
Oh, sorry. Sure.
As the project representative, should I speak? I mean, I'm not, I mean, should I introduce, is it a value to say anything about it, or otherwise you review it?
We did review it.
Oh, gotcha.
And,
We reviewed the
and
application.
if there's anything in addition to the application that
No.
you submitted that you think we should know,
No.
please let us know.
Okay.
Deanna, was there any written correspondence?
I did not receive anything.
Okay. Well, then at this time, I'll make a motion that we close that public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and would somebody like to make a motion to approve, it's resolution number 90 something?
91. 91.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Forgot to give it to you.
Resolution 91, authorizing the waiver regarding the bonds project from the provisions of local law 1 of 2024, local law placing a moratorium on applications in the TND-CC subdistrict on applications for subdivision in the AV district and on applications affecting wetlands. I'll make a motion that we approve that. For a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes, but I wanted to highlight that there are a few conditions.
I was just gonna say the same thing,
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Well, we have the project manager, so we can make sure he has them. I thank you for reminding me. Based on input from our town's engineer, this resolution is approved, because I already have 3 of the 4 votes, but it's contingent on these following conditions. 1, the town board hereby approves the request for a waiver under the moratorium law. Subject to a New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Article 24 permit prior to constructing the improvements shown on the plan. A site-specific sediment and erosion control plan be put in place during the construction. And limits of the regulated wetland adjacent area be delineated with snow fence by a licensed land surveyor prior to commencement of any construction activities on site. Also, the town are authorized and directed to take all their actions that may be required by law.
Bless you.
Do we have one more vote?
Aye.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay.
I said aye.
So we have the representative here from Bonhams. If you, this will get signed, and if you need a copy, it's actually in the packet with those terms, and if you have any questions, you can contact the, either Ty and Bond or engineer of the town's building department.
Okay, very good.
So you're all set.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So at this point, I'd like to open a public hearing for the application of Liam Turkle for a moratorium waiver at 307 Spring Lake Road. Is there a second? Chris has got it.
Okay.
We're all in agreement.
All in favor? Everybody's in favor. Okay, very good. At this time, the public hearing is open. Would anybody like to speak on this?
I'm Liam Turkle,
Oh,
architect.
welcome.
So here, nothing more to add, but if there's any questions.
Okay. Did we receive any correspondence, Deanna?
No correspondence.
Okay. One thing, Mr. Turkle, you should know, in reviewing your application, there's an issue involving the roof, and you'd like to put a new roof on that structure. You do not need a moratorium waiver for that. All you need is a building permit from the building department. So if that's something you want to commence during the intervening time, you're welcome to do that. You just got to get a permit from the building department.
I think the concern was I'm working for the property owner, but that they, before they invest in the roof, want to feel that there's a use that they can put into that building.
I understand.
That was the concern.
The application has several moving parts, and it involves the need for a use waiver from the zoning board of appeals. That's something that we can be involved in. Your moratorium waiver really affects the local law that we passed. Any matter that goes before them that falls within these categories, we have to approve the waiver so they can begin to look at it. So it has nothing to do with the roof. It has to do with the allowance for it to be able to go to the ZBA. Because the ZBA only meets once a month, and the September meeting's already happened. The October meeting happens shortly after our next meeting in October. So what I'm going to propose to the town board is that we keep this public hearing open until the next meeting. So if there's any additional information that needs to come in or any other issues, because there are some things to consider here, and then take it up at the next meeting, which is I think October the 12th. Look at my calendar here.
Maybe earlier than that.
Is it early?
I think it's 12.
Oh, it's the 8th, that's right.
Sorry, I had
Saturday.
Okay, it would be October the 8th, and then the ZBA meeting, I believe, is on the 9th. So if it got approved on the 8th, then it could go to the ZBA. But I can tell you that a use variance is an unusual thing. They're rarely given in this town. So I'm putting it out there so you know.
I was trying to recall, is this the first moratorium waiver application that we have seen that is related to a use variance project?
Yes. We've had others involving area variances, but use variances don't come up very often at all before the ZBA. So, and there's a lot to consider in this for them. So, did I make the motion that we keep it open?
Now you have it.
Now I have.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, do I have a second?
You were trying to figure out the date. I think.
Yeah, that's right, it's the
So,
8th.
yeah.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and that will resume, we'll make it 7:35 on October 8th.
And can I just ask, so we can plan as if we're going to go to the zoning, if it gets approved, we would go to the zoning board the next day, right? And we'll just continue the conversation next month.
Yes.
And it doesn't sound like you need anything more from us in
No.
the meantime? Okay.
No, because that's.
You still have to make a use variance application to the ZBA.
Which we did,
It's-
and then that,
yeah, I saw
and then
it.
Brandon said the
Yeah,
same.
no, I know.
So I believe everything's in order, and, yeah.
Yeah, but Brandon, if it gets approved, and that's the hardship that you're applying for, then it would go before the ZBA.
Okay, and that's enough time, whatever the timetable is, that's enough time to get it on the agenda?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
I can ask. I'm the liaison to the ZBA for the town board, so I can ask the secretary.
I know he wants it 10 days ahead of time, I don't know if it's already in a public hearing, if that counts as being public, you know?
Well, it wouldn't be a public hearing at the ZBA because that has to be posted in advance and published. And there are a number of steps involved, but it's up to the secretary whether they can get it on the calendar to have a discussion.
Provisionally,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, provisionally, just for you as an applicant to come before them to say, this is what we're doing. I don't know whether, I've never seen them with their timing change, but, you know, it's worth the ask.
Okay. And just so I understand, or you can tell the client what it needs to be figured out between now and then.
Excuse me?
What else needs to be, what else are you guys looking for to make that decision?
We really need to review this a
Just
little
more
bit
time.
more. Yeah. There are a number of different aspects to it,
Mhm.
not just the reuse of which we don't decide on, but there's also an issue of a residence that needs to be built. There's some things there.
Sure.
So, I think there's some additional work we have to do. So, but that's where we are, and hope to see you on October the 8th.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, so that matter is concluded. And we set that, Deanna, for 7:30.
Thank you.
7:30. 7:35, I'm
You
sorry.
said 7:30.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I apologize.
It's okay, thank you.
That'll be the first thing that comes up at the next meeting. So at this time, I'm going to put the public comment period open. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak to the board? Kenny?
No, you're doing another public hearing, I want to remind you.
Yes. Well, yes.
Let's do this one and then we can.
But you already
Yeah,
have-
we'll
already have
do
them
the-
up here, so.
We already have them up here, so we're good.
Oh, no,
Thanks.
never mind, it's off.
Thank
Never
you.
mind,
Good.
it's off.
That's all?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were getting
Yeah.
feedback for
Yeah.
some
That's
reason.
good.
You can project.
It's small enough.
You can project, Ken.
Hope all is well with everybody. I'm here to speak about Cookingham West. Yesterday I spoke to Aaron from Dutchess Land Conservancy, and just to reiterate on the conservation easement, it will prohibit, or it will allow pesticide use in that easement. So I just want to, let you be aware of that. And I know there's going to be a conflict going on in that property if this comes to fruition where it gets sold to a farmer. So, I've talked to people in the community and they're, concerned. And I just want to make sure that, the board is going to be transparent and forthcoming, whatever changes they might make on this conservation easement. And again, hopefully, that you would allow the Ag and Open Space to weigh in on it also if you need some guidance with this decision. So hopefully we'll see what happens. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else have any public comments? No? Okay, so at this time, thank you, Chris Shell, for reminding me because it's really, we had 3, but really it showed up as 2 on my list. So we have a notice of public hearing. Deanna, could you please read the notice of public hearing for local law B for the enacting a new chapter 110 of the entitled sewers?
Notice of public hearing, Town of Red Hook. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held by the Town Board of the Town of Red Hook on September 25th, 2024 at 7:40 p.m. local time at the Town Hall, 7340 South Broadway, Red Hook, New York, to hear all interested persons on a proposed local law number B, proposed of 2024, entitled A Local Law Enacting a Chapter 110, a new Chapter 110 entitled Sewers. The proposed local law enacts a new Chapter 110 of the Town Code to provide for efficient, economic, environmentally safe, and legal operation of the Town of Red Hook Sewer District Number 1 Sewer District Collection System to comply with applicable requirements of the intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Red Hook for discharge to the village's treatment plant, and to enact regulations regarding wastewater disposal to protect the health and safety of the Town of Red Hook. Please take further notice that copies of said proposed local law, are available for review at the Town Hall, 7340 South Broadway, Red Hook, New York. All interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard in person or by directing comments in writing to the Town Board at 7340 South Broadway, Red Hook, New York. All reasonable accommodations will be made for persons with disabilities. In such a case, please notify the town clerk in advance at the above address or by phone so that arrangements can be made. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Red Hook, dated September 10th, 2024, Deanna Cochran, Town Clerk, Town of Red Hook.
Thank you, Deanna. At this time, I will make a motion that we open the public hearing regarding this law. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. We are still waiting for comments from the Village of Red Hook on the proposed law. Until we get them, we're not in a position to move forward with this. So I'm going to make, well, first, are there any comments on this? I didn't think so. I'm going to make a motion that we continue this public hearing till October 8th, and we'll make it for 7:40.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That was easy. Has anybody had a chance to read all 87 pages? Gives us more time to do it, right?
It's tough to get through.
It's dense.
It's not
It's dense, yeah, that's
Dense.
a good word for
the
it.
plot is a little bit.
The next item on our agenda is, sorry about this. Next item on the agenda is, it's now budget season. We have to set some dates for our budget workshop. And a couple dates were sent out previously, to see what people's availability are. But even before those dates, my understanding is, my recollection is that the town clerk has to formally present the draft budget to the town board by the 4th of October, or the 5th of October, but that's a Saturday. So I'd like to know whether members of the board would be available either Thursday the 3rd or Friday the 4th in the morning for like 8:30 in the morning. It's literally a 5-minute meeting. It's for the presentation of the budget.
I will not be
You will
here.
not.
I'm traveling for
You're
work and all that.
That whole week, okay. What about you, Jacob?
Yeah, I can make it work.
Okay, and,
For the 3rd and 4th, yes.
yeah, so why don't we make it for the Thursday the 3rd?
Okay.
At 8:30 in the morning. I think we have to post that too, right, Deanna?
Yes.
So then,
And we anticipate this will be quite brief, right?
oh, it's 5 minutes. It's
Yeah.
just a presentation of the budget, so we open the meeting, we get the budget,
Yeah.
close the meeting, we go home. But the workshop, the first workshop would be, it looks like we're trying to do the 16th of October at 7:30. Availability by the members? I thought you said you had an issue.
Yes,
Do
he
you-
presented 2 dates, and that one is less convenient for me, but maybe the other one had a problem for some reason.
Well, the other reason is that the second date, which is the 23rd, is our second meeting of the month. And we were going to hopefully have the public hearing. If you recall, we have the workshop, we make our various adjustments as we need to and discuss and debate various things. And then we have to set a public hearing, which we would do for that last meeting of the month, which is October 23rd, so that the budget can be adopted.
Yes, what time were we thinking for the meeting?
7:30 in the evening, he was in the evening.
I have a commitment till 8, but I can leave early.
Okay. And you're available, Jacob, and you, Christina? Okay, so we will set the budget workshop for October the 16th at 7:30. Dan, I think we have to notice that as well. Very good. And then we can do it at that meeting, or we can just do it right now, is set the public hearing for the 23rd for the budget. Although, no, we can't do that until the budget's been presented, so
right,
just forget that. But most likely, that would be the date that we would do it, once the budget is presented. That would be the second thing to do after we get the budget. A resolution to do that. And hopefully council can have that ready for us for the 3rd. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the Dutchess County composting grant. There was a resolution drafted for us to apply. We found out today that a good piece of that grant is for startup and can't be used for ongoing, and we already have a composting program. However, I would like to open for discussion among the town board members whether you think we should get our own digester. I think that's what it's called, the piece of machinery that creates that, and that would be eligible for this grant because that would be a startup of something new for us.
Yeah, I had this question when I looked at the grant request for proposals, and I guess I didn't know if we were going to try to find some offset of the expenses that relate to the drop-off program,
Right,
which I would be fully in support
Sure.
of if we find a way to frame it, even though it is already to some extent up and running.
Sure.
I have some questions about the digester. I have worked in an institution that had one, and if
Okay.
there was significant ongoing maintenance required, it's a lot of decomposing material
Yes.
in a container. So I would just want to make sure that we understood the sort of technical requirements and made sure our recycling facility
Well,
staff were on board, and it's not something I'm ready to vote on today.
Well, no, we wouldn't, but what I was going to propose is that we have Lori Houston, who sort of manages our current program, come and give a presentation to the board about, because I think Bard might have one. Do you know if Bard has one?
I know they collect compost, but I don't know
If they have
what they do with
digest.
it. I assume there's something, but I don't know
Yeah.
what is. I think it's probably different from what happens with our current program, which is over in Ulster County,
Right.
because the treatment of that is different, and you can accept like meat and
It's-
bones and things like
it's
that.
much
It's
broader 'cause
treated
it's scale,
more
right?
different.
Right,
Yeah.
it's skilled.
Right.
Which is different from if you're just doing the organic material like
Right.
vegetables, things like that.
Leaves,
that are gonna
right.
be- Yeah.
And there was, yes, the sort of pre-consumer and post-consumer waste are different.
Yeah.
Right.
Would the board be interested in a presentation from Lori Houston about a digester? I think the deadline is in
November
November, right?
7th. November
So we have a little
7th.
time.
It's not as
little.
much time as you think.
A little.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
next meeting is October the 8th, and then the following is the
So if-
23rd, so, yeah, it's cutting close, but we could do it if,
Right.
but we really can't do this one anyway because of the way it's structured, so.
Well, my only concern is, well, I have several concerns, some of which Julie has already touched on. But, I don't want us to get into the situation of chasing grant dollars and that this isn't something we have thought about or have a plan for. And, because money's available, let's get one and, kind of work it out later. So I'm certainly interested to hear a presentation, but of the many points that Julia raised, I think that the recycling center team really we have to have buy-in from them because this is going to need monitoring. And, I have already seen when you go to put some stuff in the existing
Those bins.
containers,
Right.
and, there's completely the wrong stuff in this, and I look at it
Oh,
and I
they put
think,
the wrong
oh, this
stuff.
whole bin is now ruined because it's got garbage in it instead of recycling. And I realize, you can't necessarily catch every single person, but with the biodigester, it can be very easily damaged or broken if the wrong stuff goes in it. So it's gonna need a lot more supervision, direct supervision, so.
And that would be from the recycling center staff as opposed to
Yeah.
what we do with our contractor for the current
Correct.
program.
Because
Right.
we currently pay, if my recollection for the vouchers is like $5.50 a month,
Something.
something like
Something of
that.
that
Yeah.
magnitude.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the
And it's
other.
free to the public.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's free to the public. So I guess that's part of the other issue is, we have an existing.
It is
cost.
the sort of composting that captures more food waste too.
Well, and I
right?
think that's part of the sort of value proposition of it to the town.
Yeah.
We're a rural enough town that a lot of people have the opportunity to have a backyard compost, but it's more limited what you can put in that. And so I think that one of the advantages of the system we have now is that it is pretty extensive.
Yeah. I don't think there's any harm in having a presentation.
Right.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
agree.
So I think
Okay.
it'd probably be a good idea if Lori
Yeah.
or Lori Urban also
Yeah.
is one of the ones
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
that drives
Yeah.
the composting
Just maybe don't
issue.
get their hopes up too high. Like make
Yeah.
make clear that
Fair
they're
enough.
curious
I
and
mean,
skeptical.
I'm not sure that this could be totally manned by volunteers, I think,
Yeah.
No, I
So-
hear
And
you.
I think Lori Urban would present a really honest
Yeah.
about like assessment of what this would look like for the town too. I don't
And
think.
maybe how the current program is working.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of generally have a sense of how it's working, but I'd love a little bit of an update.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'd be good for that presentation to include that, because if you're in the program, you get emails that say, this is how much, CO2's been diverted through the program, this is how much food has actually been collected by weight. So it's like some really valuable information that has been collected over the, the term of the program existing. So that'd be something too, to say like, this is something that has been an asset for the community from an environmental standpoint, from, the community being able to participate in this. There's also been compost that's been delivered back to the recycling center for people participating to take home
what
for
they
their
call
garden.
it, hard scrabble gold or
Yeah,
hard
the-
scrabble.
yeah,
That big, and it goes fast, I mean.
Yeah. So it'd be great to have sort of a check-in about the program, but also what this might look like.
Okay, all right, well, I'll pass that along and we'll try to get her on the schedule for the 8th. Okay, so that's that. And then the next is the water quality testing proposal, which we talked about last week, and we tabled it till this week because we had a few questions of how the number reduced, and you were right, Julia.
I can't even remember if it was me or Christine or somebody had that.
It was a reduction of the number of locations.
Right.
And people that they need to do it. That's what I was told. Apologize for this. Oh, this is,
Getting through the sewer law is gonna be a long time.
This one is, okay.
It's well below that, yeah. The composting thing's after that.
Composting was at 132
At 132?
Thank you.
It's not showing the,
on the
You're at
side.
125.
Yeah.
on the, oh, you know why I
Yeah.
can't see it?
Yeah,
Oh, there it is.
the other number like 135.
Almost there. Apologize. There we go. That was the composting grant. So we just discussed that. And then this, oh, okay. So this was the rider of the agreement for professional service for the water testing that we didn't vote on last time. Has everybody had a chance to review this?
Give us more information.
Well, the information that we got was that it's just a reduction of number of location sites. And then I think there was just a set, they need less staff because of that. Any discussion for the board on this?
I think it's up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this should be resolution 92.
Well, we have to ask questions.
Yeah, let's see. So this would be resolution number 92, I believe.
Yes.
All right. Do I have a motion from a member of the board to adopt resolution number 92 to amend our agreement for water testing?
So moved.
Bill, do you have the resolution in front of you? Because it wasn't in the packet.
I have the rider right here.
Right, but the resolution.
It came in, but I don't have it printed out.
It's in,
Cassie, do you have it?
I have it, but
the
it's.
rider is in the.
Well, this is
Yeah, but
the,
that's
So
that's not the resolution.
Yeah, I sent it with the writer, but I'm not sure. I didn't make it into the packet.
No, it didn't.
But you can still approve by motion.
Yeah, we can still approve this by motion?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Julia Solomon has made the motion, we have a second.
Just to confirm,
Yeah.
the resolution that we had at our last meeting on this,
So I
there's
don't,
no,
I-
we saw a draft anyway.
We did, but it was for a different,
It was different. So the only thing that's changed is the pricing, like the other language of the resolution is the same if we're gonna approve by motion.
so I drafted the resolution like 3 days ago, so I don't think it was the same. Essentially, what you're approving, so I drafted this rider like on Monday, so
okay.
it wasn't for last meeting, so I think the motion would
Oh, we
be
just have the
the motion to approve the rider for the agreement.
Okay.
You reviewed the proposal at the last
Right,
meeting.
yes,
So,
yeah.
then do I have a motion to approve the rider?
I so moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, then the motion carries for that. brings us to our monthly department board and committee reports. Which I thought was going to be shorter, but they got a few in.
They got a few in at the last
this
minute.
I thought it was going to be a shorter meeting, but
Well, you don't get a break.
no, I don't. Well, I'm the liaison to the police department. Looks like August was a busy month for them. They responded to 108 calls, not including Tivoli, which is another 28. They issued 31 traffic tickets, and they made 5 arrests. I know they've been paying attention to speeding carefully, and for all the viewers out there, please watch your speed when you drive in Red Hook, because we're taking it very seriously. And the list of various calls that they've gone on that does not include the traffic tickets is below in various different categories and locations for your perusal. Let's see. You do a lot of road hazard stuff, trees down, things like that. Oh, I get stuck with the next one too. For the building department for the month of September, which actually is not over, but to date, I guess, there were 32 permits issued. They conducted 126 inspections, they were very busy. Issued 37 either certificates of occupancy or certificates of completion. They received 4 complaints, and they received $9,121 in fees, revenue, for the various permitting activities. And this one's always kind of big, but it also has every location, every applicant.
I always like the pie chart, it's kind of buried in the middle.
Is it in the middle or is it near the end?
It's towards the end, but
It's
not
towards
all the
the-
way at the end.
Yeah, it breaks it out to what the various percentages of. It's a
The
long,
fees come from.
a lot of trees die for this. Bear with me.
You're close, I think.
This is it, here we go. So these are the types of activities, safety inspections, fire, driveway permit fees. But the bulk of the money appears to be building permits for residential this month. And then it's broken down in this chart table. Okay, some more pages, please. Almost there. All right. Up next, Jacob. Is the Highway Department report and correspondence from the Highway Superintendent.
So Teresa sent a report in. It has budget requests for 2025, and I'm not going to go into all of them, but I think a few of the things that are highlights would be equipment requests. So she notes that the capital equipment plan for 2024 proposed the purchase of a crew cab chip truck and a compact excavator. We've purchased the excavator, and for the truck, she's requesting that the crew cab truck be replaced with a crew cab roll-off truck. And that would have different bodies that are interchangeable. So you have the same single chassis, but you can have 3 different bodies that go for different needs, right? So the ones that she suggests are dump, chip, and brine bodies. So the chassis would be $135,000. The bodies would be $102,802. So approximately the total cost of around $240,000. There's some information here about what the needs for that would be. She does note that the tank frame would be for brining, which the current fleet doesn't have a truck that would be suitable for the brine equipment that we've been moving forward with.
And if I'm understanding this correctly, this would be a 2024 expense, right? This is something that she's substituting for a request.
Yeah, it seems like that's what's here. It's not entirely clear, because I don't think we've really talked about that purchase before this meeting. I mean, it's on the plan, but we haven't actually had a meeting to talk about it. I didn't get a chance to touch base with her on that front. It's separate from the 2025 request, so I assume it's meant to be done this year. So important to sort of talk about that now if we're going to do it before the end of the year, because there's only a few months left. 2025 equipment requests include a forklift and a wood chipper. So the estimated costs for those are $37,000 and $79,000. And then she notes that if we don't have available funding in 2025 to purchase those two, she proposed using 2025 CHIPS monies. So we can talk about what the best way of doing that would be. After that, there's a number of line items. I think it's probably best to talk about those in the budget workshop itself rather than getting into everything now. There's a lot of sort of supporting materials. And then at the end, there's an update on the uniform requests that we talked about a couple of months ago. So we requested that Teresa do some research into what different companies might provide from a uniform perspective for costs and services. And then we had a discussion about the crew, asking for them to have their own uniforms they would launder themselves and, purchase them and then launder them. So the cost breakdown that she provided there, two of the companies are about $1,600, just under $1,000. The third company is just under $500, and then a proposed town-provided clothing allowance that's here is for $500. And the breakdown there would be, well, she provides some pros and cons, including, the pro is weekly laundering. The con is that you have the contract over a certain time period. You don't have accountability for missing items. Flexibility is not really there. You sort of have the issue that we have now that's been expressed where the service doesn't really live up to what you thought you were getting into at the beginning. And then the pros for having the town providing uniforms and not the laundering service would be the clothing remains in the possession of the employee. There's flexibility in choices, so they can choose what they want to wear. Do that. There's no contracts as well. The downside is they'd be responsible for laundering it themselves. So there's a few things that would be requirements around that, expectations that Teresa lays out. And her recommendation is that the board move forward with uniform allowance instead of the delivery service. And what she lays out there, approximate estimate of what people would be able to purchase would be about 7 pairs of jeans and 7 shirts, estimated cost about $455, not including tax. She notes that the union contract specifies 11 of each of those items, which would be about $1,120. But that's based on the delivery service fee, 5 per week, 5 that are being washed, and then a spare. So that's the reason for that, right, is the uniform service is taking those to launder them so they won't have them in their possession during that time. She said the staff feels that having 7 uniforms would give them adequate time to launder. So, if you wear 5 over the course of a week, you have 2 more and then you can launder in those remaining days. So she reached out to union rep for a determination on the suitability of this. So I think we don't have that feedback yet, but from what she shared, I think it's a really good analysis of what would go into it, the pros and cons, the costs, sort of the benefits of doing it this way. And it seems like the crew's on board with it as well. So I don't think we're going to make a decision about that right now. Again, probably best suited for the budget workshop at this point, but
I appreciated the update.
it's really good to have this information. So,
Well, it's detailed, which it wasn't before.
yeah. So that's the end of that report, but we'll be talking about more of the specific budget line items in the budget workshop.
On the 16th. Okay. Yeah, hopefully she'll be able to make it. Yep. And now for the dense recreation director.
No, this is
I know.
the new
I
season.
know, I saw it.
The seasons are
Yeah.
changing, so there's not as much, I shouldn't say there's not as much going on, it's just different things. So, and believe it or not, we're, late September, but there's still cleanup of reporting, et cetera, that's happening for all of our very successful summer programs, so that's underway. Once the repairs on the pickleball courts were completed, the rec park staff moved on to repairs for the skate park surface, which were pretty significant, and they have also been completed.
I just wanted to add, they look great.
They do look great, don't they? I mean,
It's a real
amazing.
transformation there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. They did a really great job. So lots of some of the projects we talked about before, continuing repairs at the restroom building and the lighting there, et cetera, they're still working through those. And some other things that we addressed the last time through the tree committee report, some planting plans for Rec Park West near the entrance. So just a couple of other things that I want to highlight is with budget coming up, they have begun to look at the equipment inventory and a few other things, and did point out that several major pieces of equipment are nearing the need to be replaced. Even though they are also fantastic at doing their own repairs and figuring out if they can't get the parts, how to make it work. Sometimes you can only, do that so long. So they are already working on their, research and inventorying to get ready for the budget requests. In reviewing their costs to date, there's two areas that have seen significant increases. One is the cost of fuel, and the other is the cost of lighting, since we have repaired and added some more lighting at the rec park, over the rec park. For anybody who might have noticed that there are football fields marked out next to the entrance road in Rec Park West. So there's a Knights of Columbus flag football program that's going to happen there. And at Rec Park East, we got some old telephone poles from Central Hudson, donated at no cost, which have been put in to try to create a bus parking area. So to allow enough room for turning and to try to keep cars from parking in that area. And as we also reported the last time, after the last heavy rains, there was damage to the walking tracks. And so that has been underway, and still need to purchase some more materials to finish that repair. And that's it.
Thank you, Christine.
All right.
Very brief.
I know.
Okay, the next item up is the water board meeting. These are the minutes from the meeting for May 15th. I will say, as the liaison of the water board, these are a little stale, because we had a water board meeting that occurred on the same night as our last town board meeting, and I was able to attend the first half hour of it. And we're focusing on dealing with the lead pipe issue. We don't think we have any lead pipe that's bringing water to homes, but there are some legal requirements set by the federal government and the state about making sure that we don't. And so since these meeting minutes were adopted and approved at the last meeting, so that's why I don't have the draft meetings for the September meeting. But primarily, there's a discussion of EPA does allow a certain amount of statistical projecting based on an appropriate sample and some other things. And the people who are on the water board are all water board professionals, like Jerry, who's the vice chair. So they're talking about, we don't have a lot, we have 498 users, and we've been able to eliminate a bunch of them because the homes were built after the time that it mattered. But it's getting down to the nitty gritty of, do we have to do every single house, or can you do a percentage and what's acceptable? And they're working on that, and I'm confident that they have a plan. Phil McDougall on the board is spearheading this activity. The other thing that's not mentioned here, but Hank, who's the chair of the water board, has announced that he will be retiring at the end of the calendar year.
My goodness, he's been doing that for a very, very long time.
Well,
yes,
retirement.
and he's in his 90s, so and it's remarkably spry and really great to have him. So the other issue that the discussion that I missed because we came in here, but I follow up, is sort of succession planning and how we're going to do as we go forward with a plan for replacement. So that's that. And now, lastly, I think we have
Preservation
trees.
Yep, so the monthly report for September from the Tree Preservation Commission. Just one note for the discussion in the meeting. The committee welcomed Kim Eastlick, who's an environmental studies graduate student from Bard College. Spoke about her background and experience with urban forestry. She's going to be helping the committee with the Red Hook tree inventory, which has been a topic of discussion for some time now. So the main focus of this meeting was selecting the appropriate software for the town's needs. I wasn't able to attend the meeting, but I trust that they had a good discussion about it.
Thank you, Jacob. Well, I believe that concludes what's on our agenda, unless anybody has anything else they want to bring up. Okay, it won't be a record, but I like to try to move things along. So
Do we have any attorney-client?
we do not. There was something that I was going to, but council was able to share with all of us members an email, which saved us the trouble of having to have that. So we're good. I would imagine we will have one at the next meeting on October the 8th. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to make a motion that we now close this meeting. All in favor?
Hi.
Thank you. Have a
It
good
may not be
evening.
a record, but you can move the trend line.